Hello and welcome back to another Talking To episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Aiden.
And today we're going to be talking about the TMNT 2003 Season 1 Episode 3 Attack of the Mouses. So what do you think about this episode briefly?
Briefly, this episode is a really, really good one. I really liked it because it's the backstory. It's the introduction to the team, to the turtles, and their backstory into this whole crazy life that they've gotten themselves into.
Yeah, I have to say that I do enjoy this episode for the backstory and also how they deliberately kept it to this point. And I would like to go a bit more further into that when we do get to that point. And I do think that Baxter is again a standout character from this episode. Okay, but yeah. Okay, so we start this episode off. So go on, point one thing out. I like the Kermit the Frog reference. I know that's a little bit weird, but did you notice that or notice that?
With the frog reference? No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was at the beginning where Mikey goes, "Oh, it's not easy being green." It was something like that. I think it was.
Oh, that's a Kermit the Frog reference.
Yeah.
I never picked that up.
Well, now you do. Okay, so in the beginning we do have April waking up and she's getting scared of the turtles, and that's when she falls back asleep again. What do you think about this little scene?
That scene was a bit weird. For starters, why were the turtles just looking at her while she was asleep? I know they haven't seen a human before, but the turtles kind of creeped me out there.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I mean, must admit the whole situation. If you look at it from like certain points of views, then it is all kinds of weird. But yeah, one thing which I did like about this little scene was Mikey little like tick thing he does to Mikey when to April. He goes, tsh, oh no, tsh, you know what? You know that little bit there. For some
Yeah.
reason I enjoy that quite a bit. And
Hmm.
yeah, so in the next scene we got the Mouses robbing the bank. What do you think about this little scene?
Oh, the Mousers robbing the bank. I really liked that scene. That was a pretty good scene to watch. Just seeing the Mousers chew through the concrete, the rubble, and the banks, and the safety deposit boxes, just chewing through those like it was nothing, and just eating all the cash. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. But one, how are you gonna get the cash out the Mauser? But that's later. But later on in the episode, we discovered how they get the cash out, because I was thinking it's for starters, like, why are you destroying the money? Why are you just eating the cash? You want that. And then of course later down the episode we find out how they got the cash out. I'm like, okay, that's good. At least they didn't eat the cash.
Yeah, I have to say that for this little scene here, I do enjoy the Mouses actually having something to do and not just getting destroyed. And I mean, the thing is, I do enjoy the Mouses designs. I think they're really cool. And shame for like we don't after this episode we don't ever get to see them again, which is like really disappointing. So at least had this little bit here was quite good. But I must admit, it does show like even though it does show the positives of like their really cool designs and characters and all, it does show just how like I don't know. Even when we do get to the final fight where they fight against the lasers, you can just tell that this is just not like a very interesting fight or anything like that, and these are not really interesting villains, even though they don't have any personality. But like when you like compared to like the Pearl Dragons or the Foot or like any other weird creatures they go up against in any other series, um, it does have like a more fun factor, and like anything could happen. But of course, these are just robots that don't like not have any real threat. It is I don't know. They don't really have like any sort of threat for them. Um, but I do like the fact that with the cops, they come back, and again they're also like a little Easter egg to the creators, which I must admit I do love that scene.
Mm.
But yeah, in the next scene we do have Splinter revealing the backstory. What do you think about the backstory and the scene?
Ooh, the backstory. The backstory to to the Turtles and the whole Splinter thing was actually pretty cool to see. Like, first of all, one, Splinter isn't an actual human being. He's a rat who got turned into like a humanoid rat from the mutagen, which is pretty cool to find out and watch. Um, Seeing the turtles, um, when they were pre-mutagen, I'd say, was pretty cool as well because they were pets, someone's pets. And I'm not gonna lie, why was some kid carrying around 4 turtles in a glass jar in New York City? Like, what is
Uh,
what was that idea about?
okay, well, that little bit there, I was going to bring this up a little bit later, but I want to explain it now, as this might be a good opportunity. So there's nothing really too interesting about the boy with the glass, or the turtles. However, the person who saved the old man, and in the original comic books, is Daredevil. And you're probably gonna be your mind's gonna be blown right now. I got a feeling, and it more or less has always been confirmed like that way, as because in his origins he was the one who lost his eyes by some chemicals, and it more or less is basically the origin. So like in this series, to get around the loophole of that, they changed the character to make him a African American. So yeah, what do you think about that little Easter egg?
Well, I definitely wasn't expecting Daredevil to come into this story. Like, completely thrown off by that. Like, how? Because I was thinking, how could he be Daredevil? Like, he's not been blinded. He's not like he's pre-blind, and of course, you were saying he's African American as well. And just, I really wasn't expecting Daredevil to be in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, I didn't think the DC heroes and the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Marvel.
Turtles were like, yeah, Marvel. Sorry, Marvel. We're gonna be like crossing over. This is really weird, and this is a first for me hearing this sort of stuff. So I'm quite surprised to hear about that.
Yeah, it's like quite weird with like how connected they all are, but it works and it's been around forever. I mean, it's not officially confirmed, but with all the things with all the like the way that things are presented, it more or less is basically confirmed, but not if you know what I mean. But yeah, what do you think about the rest of the backstory?
The rest of the backstory, though, was amazing. Just seeing them grow up, seeing Splinter, and just seeing them grow up and eat their first pizza was pretty cool. However, I have got one question. How did the turtles know Splinter's name? It's not like Splinter was talking to the turtles at the time, and just seeing them say Splinter, like, how did they know Splinter's name? And how does Splinter even know himself that he has a name? Unless all animals secretly have names and we just don't know about it because they can't talk. Like, that just threw me off completely. Like, Splinter has a name, and somehow the turtles now know that he has a name. It just doesn't add up in my eyes.
Oh well, okay. So for Spinner having his name, there is a reason for it. It will take you about 97 episodes to find it out how he got the name. But I feel like when you do find it, it's going to be quite. Oh my god, I can't believe he quit his name by that. It's actually quite sad how he got his name.
Ah,
But I think with the turtles, it is just more of a like coincidence. They just said a name. Really, I don't like. I don't think they know his name. But they said a name and it just like stuck on. um, I think that's like, but then again, this was before we do find out how Spinner got his name and all that. So I think it's just more, just oh, what a coincidence! The Turtles knew his name, type of situation.
got ya.
But yeah, with this scene for me, I do feel as though that like there's a really bad Splinter joke here with him, Leonardo asking how he knows how to trust April and him going just trust your gut. I don't think that really worked for his type of character, but at least they tried. Um, but when they
Yeah,
actually start the whole backstory, it's really weird. He goes, "I have memories." That is like the weirdest way to explain any type of backstory. It's it comes off
yeah,
as so
definitely.
weird for him. But yeah, I do definitely do enjoy the backstory just because of like how like comic book accurate it is to the source material. Absolutely love it. Did you notice that the truck was also a TCRI truck?
Yes, I actually wanted to bring that up. I just wanted to say that the truck was TCRI, and of course the mutagen was also TCRI as well, because in the first episode, the turtles, when they were taking all their stuff to bring to the new base, there was a broken TCRI um, um, jug or containment unit or whatever you call
Canister.
it. Canister, thank you. Canister that they were transporting back to the layer. So that was some resemblance, and that's what I picked up on as well. So I'm thinking, that's why it's there. That's why they know it's like a past heirloom or something, just to remind them where they've come from. That was pretty cool to see.
Yep, just a little few more breadcrumbs to the bigger picture. Um, but yeah, also getting back to it, I don't understand how Splinter got a fresh pizza in the sewers. That is mind blowing. But who really knows at this point? Um, but with the backstory, I definitely do enjoy how they presented it in this series compared to the 2012 version, where they just said it in the first episode to characters who already knew it, and it didn't really just come off as just, oh, they need to explain it because they have to new viewers and all that. Whereas in this version, I liked how they built it up to be more of a mystery of how they came to be, and then even explain it to a character who doesn't know it, and we're almost like viewing it as April as well. So I do enjoy that aspect of the backstory. Very like different to 2012. Did you like have any thoughts on that?
The scene that what was the scene? Sorry.
Oh no, so I was comparing the two 2012 version and 2003 of how they presented the backstory in terms of 2012, like showing it straight away in the first episode to characters who already knew it, compared to the 2003 show where they're building up the
Ah,
mystery and explaining
right.
it to a character
Yeah.
who like didn't know about it.
Right, yeah. To be honest, I'm a bit weirded out. Like you said, like April slowly learnt out about the turtles. It was already known, and of course, this one, April knows about the turtles because they basically kidnapped her. But it was really interesting to see how two different producers and people and just the companies that made them in general, just seeing their thought process behind how they should introduce April to the series in general was actually just really interesting to see. Comparing the two, just it was really cool to see, and how it's improved, how it's been done, how it's been executed. It's just a really cool thing to see, and I really do enjoy it. The probably my best one though is this version that we're going through as of today. Just seeing, because the turtles saved April and from the Mousers, and of course they just picked her up and said, "Oh, can I keep it?" Like automatically just kidnapping her, and I just found that really funny. So I kind of like this version more, which is kind of weird because I've only seen like the 2012 version, and now I'm seeing this version. I've only seen two versions of the Turtles, so but yeah, I like this version.
Yeah, I must admit, like, I think this is going to be like the more interesting conversation we're going to be having quite a lot throughout this whole series. We're going to be like comparing the two in terms of like which one did this bit better and that. And I do think that's like a quite interesting thing. And I do think that like, some like this show does do a lot of things better than 2012, whereas 2012 does do a lot of good things as well. So I do think it's going to be like a really interesting thing to like compare because just because I know that this is your first time watching it, so your opinion is going to be really different to like a fan of like a this version. So, and then also it's going to be sort of interesting to see after this season, like in terms of like which one you like lean more towards. I thought because just because I don't think any fans watching 2012 and 2003 at the same time, so you're more or less making history.
Hmm, that's cool to know.
Um, Yeah. Okay, so in the next scene, we do have Baxter Stockman with the Mousers, and the Mousers dropping off all the money, jewels, and then that's when he comes talks to Shredder again. What do you think about this scene?
This scene was actually pretty cool. Just seeing Baxter Stockman again, and I'm not gonna lie, Baxter Stockman is so much better in this series, and I feel like the series portrays him in such a good way, preferred to the 2012 series in which he was very scrawny, he was skinny, he was like, I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't very confident in his ability to do such things as much as he is now in this series, but I just loved how he takes a situation, an opportunity, and just takes it, doesn't care about the opportunities, and he just has no regards for anyone. Even Shredder, his boss, doesn't give an absolute arse about him, honestly. And it's just awesome just to see his pure confidence comes out, and he's just like, oh my god, I'm the ruler of Earth. Like, I have the power. I can do anything I want, and that's just awesome. And I love seeing that in villains, and just seeing like the proper evil side of him coming out. And it's just pretty awesome to see with Baxter Stockman, and I just love it. Um, Mauser's situation. Previously I asked about how they got the money out the Mausers. Now I know the Mausers excrete it from the rear end of themselves. So that's how they got the money out in the first place. But yeah, just seeing them operate, just seeing them how they got the money, how they were designed to collect valuables, which it was pretty cool to see, and just in general. With Shredder as well, I want to go back to Shredder real quick. Just Shredder's like, we all know that Baxter and Shredder are closely working hand in hand to secure funds for their projects or operations or whatever they're up to. I'm still unaware of that. But yeah, just seeing them, how they talk and how they communicate with one another was really weird. Like, there's Shredder saying, look, if you don't do this, there will be consequences. And of course, going back to Baxter Stockman with his absolute confidence, he just says, all right, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to keep calling me. It's like he has no regards. He has complete disregard for Shredder. Like, he doesn't fear Shredder. Like, this is the thing that I love about Baxter Stockman. He doesn't fear Shredder, and he's just all out confident, which is just amazing to hear from a character. And of course, his arrogance, his self-minded opinions just blind him from the truth, and which leads on to his further demise within the episode. And I just love how it's well put together. It's someone actually sat down with a script, and some guy read the script, and he portrayed the guy's voice, and some animator sat down and portrayed his animation and his character so perfectly, and it was just a great thing to see in this episode. And I'm hoping this is a continuation of this. I hope they continue this pattern, or this character's story onwards into this series, because I would love to see Baxter Stockman like return and become a major threat. Like, he is already a major threat, but then you've got Shredder, which I just really love. But I'm going to start talking now, so otherwise we'll be here all night.
Oh yeah, I want to clarify this now. Baxter Stockman is like an ongoing villain, and he's in every season. He is one of the best villains, and has one of the best stories. You're gonna love it and see where it goes. I won't really spoil anything too much, but with the things that you enjoy outside Ninja Turtles, you will enjoy to see where his character goes. Um, but like with the Mouser stuff, I do find it like weird. I don't know, like compare, because seeing how they do it in this version with like grabbing the funds and releasing them to seeing the 2012 version, well, it's not really too much of a big difference, I would say. Um, I don't know, it still feels weird, but I feel like maybe like the location of where they're doing it. But yeah, and then like going back to Baxter Stockman's attitude, I just love it so much. It's just perfect, and his interactions with Shredder, I just love it. One of my favorite quotes in this episode was him like saying, "Oh yeah, oh, was it? It was like talking to Shredder, like saying, "Oh, oh, was it? Can you grasp that tiny little concept?" It was perfect for the character.
Mm,
It was,
definitely.
oh god, love it so much. And then even
Mm-hmm.
going back to what you're saying about how well written everything was, I do think that's actually a good part on the one of the producers on the show was one of the co-creators for Tim and T, and basically what they've done was they took the original comic and adapted it into the show while adjusting it to fit this universe. And you know that saying where like is was it if it's not broke don't fix it. That is just or no don't broke don't change it. This is a clear example of that. Took the core elements of the story, core elements of like certain scenes, and then was just adapting it to fit in this universe, and it clearly goes to show that like with like good talent, you have amazing episodes. And this one clearly does. This episode goes to show this. Like specifically in that scene where you just go to see just Baxter with his powers, like overconfident in terms of what he wants to do, what he can do, and then when it backfires, you see how he gets out of it. It's really fascinating how they do write this stuff. Um, but yeah, in the next scene we do have the turtle sneaking into Baxter's uh, like lab and all that. Okay, so the first thing is that they sneak through the sewers. The first thing is why? I mean, the thing is, I like how they're sneaking through the sewers. I love this version of them going through the sewers, as each sewer does look different compared to the like 2012 has like sewers all look the same. Um, but in this version they do look different, and I do like that. But why do they have security in the sewers? And Mikey's little cringy scene where he's all joking about Donnie's and Naples' relationship. Do you think that was foreshadowing the 2012 version?
Oh, yeah. To be honest, I did want to bring up as well, in the amount of episodes that we've watched, thus far, I haven't heard one bit or a single bit of cringe. I know April wasn't in the last couple of episodes, but to be honest, I was waiting for Donatello to start hitting on April like immediately. Like, oh my god, she's amazing, she's the beautiful woman, that sort of stuff. And I thought Donnie was gonna hit on her, sorry. But no, absolutely not. And of course, when you said about Mikey foreshadowing Donnie's and April's relationship, I was like, oh my gosh, is this foreshadowing? Like, this is weird. There's no cringe as of yet, but I'm not gonna jinx us because it's probably gonna happen in next episode. April and Donnie are gonna have some moment together, and of course Donnie's gonna be like, oh my god, it's amazing. She's the one sort of thing. And it's all gonna go downhill from there for Donnie. That's what I think at least, but not I'm not too sure where it's gonna go. But in once we get to it later on in the scene, like the very last scenes, I do have something with Donnie and April written all over it. So yeah,
Okay, you can be really surprised at this, but none of the Turtles actually have any sort of romantic relationships with anyone. And, like, April's relationship with the Turtles is more of like a big sister, mother type character in a way. And, like, this is like obviously like a big difference compared to 2012. It's not really too much of a spoiler because, like, it doesn't happen, but, um, what are your thoughts about that?
really. So there's
Yeah,
no
I'm being serious.
relationship. There's no.
I mean,
Okay, okay, that is okay. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I do feel a sense of relief at the moment because I'm glad that I don't have to go through the cringe again with Donnie and April. Like I'm very glad about that, and I'm so happy. And of course, I'm really shocked as well because that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, so every series Donnie falls in love with April. That's a thing, okay, but in this one, yeah, I am completely shocked and relieved at the same time. I didn't even know I could feel that way at the same time.
yeah, no, 2012 is the only version with April and Donnie type thing. But in this version, they don't really have any like romantic relationships. It's more like a friendly relationship with them, and more like a family. And it is like, I mean, we know how well that played out for 2012, and even with the Leo and Karai stuff in that version, and this version, like it's all different, but at the same time, it's so close to the original source, which I do like that. But at the same time, there's nothing really like anything bad about it, which is just great.
Mm.
So yeah, I got a feeling like we should probably move on, just because otherwise we're just gonna be talking about this forever. But
Yeah.
yeah, in the next scene, I do want to bring up is with the turtles in the vent. How big is Baxter Vent? Because April and Raph were in the same scene, and then how is it that big? Care to comment?
Um, to be honest, I never really thought about that. I was thinking, okay, it's a big vent. It's like a huge ventilation vent. And then, of course, I'm realizing all the turtles are in there as well. And I'm thinking, Jesus, like, is this like some sort of back entrance, back door?
Yeah, it's just
And
weird,
one, how
really.
do they even get in the vent? Like, how do they even get there in the first place? That's what I want to know.
I guess they climbed up the sewers, but even then, like, why do they? Oh god, this is gonna be another like power cell situation.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
no.
this is going to be one of
Um,
those. This is going to be one of those moments.
yeah. I thought we should just move on. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
in the
should
next
move on.
scene we do have in the next scene we do have the turtles going against Baxter Stockman's lasers. What do you think about this fight scene?
This was actually really interesting to watch. I actually enjoyed this because they were. It was completely different, completely out the box that I've never seen before. Like, of course, in the original series that we watched, like, sure, it had weapons, it had somewhat of lasers and such, but it wasn't as comical, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like this episode is heavily based around the comics, and I just absolutely love it. Like, for instance, when the turtles enter the chamber, where they fight Baxter Stockman. I love Mikey's quote to say, "My turtle sense is tingling," and of course we all know what that is relation to Spider-Man, and we all know what that is. And of course, I just loved it. And of course, this whole episode is revolving around the comics, and it is, in my opinion, even though I haven't seen the Turtle comics, I really do like how they use their techniques to portray it in such a comical way, and it's just really cool to see that the producers have taken their time and effort just to put in those minor details, and I just love it. But overall, that fight scene was pretty awesome, and immediately I just thought of the original Transformers TV show, which was in the early '90s as such, just with like the lasers and the explosions, just the whole movement in general. And I am, like I say, I'm probably going to say this a lot, but I just want to say it again. I am so impressed on how the animators got the fluid movements of how the turtles were jumping from place to place, and just in general, how they put it all together so smoothly. And I'm very impressed on how they got Mikey's dance moves when he was trying to avoid the lasers. Like, it was so smoothly put together. Like, you don't even realize that it was scene on top of scene on top of scene to create that sort of movement, and it was just incredible to see. Just seeing them how much passion was put into that one scene, and that's what I love about it.
Okay, well, I got surprised you was comparing it to Transformers. As I mean, I haven't really seen much Transformers, so that was a very unique comparison. But going to back to your thing about the comics, I would say I wouldn't really say it was because I know that you're saying that you like him because he's more like the comics without actually reading the comics. So that's a good answer. But I'll actually say that this series is like unlike all the other cartoons. This series is more grounded and a bit more realistic in a way because in the one which we've seen, you got mutant like every other episode, you got a new mutant, you got aliens, you got Krangs, anything that is anything that you can imagine is like in that series. So I think that having this series more grounded and I'd say in a way a bit more realistic. I mean, you're talking about Ninja Turtles, so how realistic can you get? But I feel like having it more grounded is like a really. I mean, for me, I always found that like a really good aspect of it because, like, even because I know you were talking about the comics, and even in the comics, they're a bit more grounded, somewhat realistic in a way. I do think that having it more grounded, a bit more darker in a way, it has that sense of like betterness and not just anything could happen, very kiddie like the 2012 version. Um, but with this scene, I know that you enjoyed this, but for me, I actually found this one to be quite boring out of all three episodes, just because there wasn't really anything. I mean, I've already said this before with like the mouses, where like they're not really much of a threat. I know that Pearl Dragons and Foot Soldiers are not much of a threat, but they can at least offer some sort of good battle that will last for quite a while. Whereas the lasers, they just they're not. I mean, they're sort of a threat, but not too much of a threat. Where just shooting a laser and tell us to dodge it. So there's just I don't know. For me, there's not really too much really there. Um, but yeah, after that we do got Baxter interacting with April again, and then April basically overloads the Mousers, and yeah, what do you think about that scene?
That was actually pretty cool to see as well. Seeing how April and Donnie were working together, trying to deactivate the Mousers, and that's the scene I wanted to bring up as well. Talking about the relationship between April and Donnie, that scene as well was just another little for my opinion that they were foreshadowing Donnie and April's relationship together. But now that I know that they're not actually going to be together, a bit disappointing but relieving at the same time. Just was a bit weird. Like, oh my gosh, they're working together and they're not even realizing it. Like, they're working together. They're like friends at the start. Like, they're working together. Maybe this is going to be a foreshadowing for like a future episode. They're going to be geeking off about how technology works, or they're going to be geeking off about how they stopped the Mousers by working together, or and so, vice versa. But yeah, it was just really cool to see them working together. Like, they've just met. April's like, this is episode 3. They've literally just met April, and April's just met the Turtles. She thinks she's dreaming still, but she just looks past it, and she just like, all right, I'm going to be working with these guys. I got to get used to it. Let's do it. And it's just really cool to see how that plays out.
So yeah, with the April thing, I do think it's quite interesting within this particular version, but because she's a lot more older and she knows about science, technology, and has a job and all that, and has qualifications, I do think that her being more like with this version, she's able to be a lot more involved, able to help the turtles and be involved in the story in a different way compared to the 2012 version, where she was just there for the story as like a little side story, and or I mean, in other cases she was there for the turtles to go out and save her. So I do think that's like a big difference in terms of the two versions of having the teenager and the adult one. And I do think there's like I must admit, like, there's positives and like, negatives about like both versions, but I do think having her as a lot more like older does help her in like giving her more to do within these certain situations. But like with the Mouse's overloading, I found that like for me to be like very anticlimactic. You had this, you had this like 3 episode build up, and then all they do is just like blow themselves up and all that. Bit anticlimactic. But in the next scene, we do have a new character called Hun. What do you think about him?
Hun? Well, Hun is a very, well, the name, I was like, Hun or Hunt? It is Hun, isn't it? It's not Hunt, right?
Yes. Yes, Hun.
So,
Hun.
Hun, right. Hun, alright. I'm not gonna lie, that name's a bit off-putting. Like, oh, he's a honey, or is he like really nice? And no, he's a 6 foot tall, built like a brick house, and looks like he's about to go on a rampage. But nah, But yeah, Hun is a very interesting character. For one, I actually thought the voice actor was the original voice actor who did Chris Bradford. However, sadly, I realised that Chris Bradford's voice actor wasn't in this series. Sadly, unless I'm wrong, or would anyone like to correct me on this? Like, is he in it or is he
No,
not?
it's not him. No,
Damn it! Right.
unfortunately not.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. The voice actor sounds pretty cool, and I like him. I don't know who the voice actor is yet, because it's my first time being introduced to this guy. So, but yeah, this voice actor matches his character so well. Like he's bulk, he's strong. He's like he's the man that gets all the dirty jobs done for Shredder. Like if you need someone like gone, he's the guy to call.
Yeah, I have to say that Hun for me. I mean, I love Hun for what his character is able to do in later seasons and what he has an effect on a certain character, and you'll find out pretty soon. And he's a really interesting character to look at when you do get into the later seasons of the show in terms of like the whole family dynamic for the Foot Clan and see what he does, where his character goes. He's like a really interesting character, and I do think the voice, like you already said, it definitely does fit his character. It is just perfect for the character. He's like what you would imagine his character to sound like, and it's just amazing. Well, that's actually speaking to one of the creators who created Hun. He's actually supposed to be based off. I think he's based off like Hun the Attila the Hun. I think that's where this inspiration came from, and like the original drawing was like really small, and then over time, and then as I going a bit more into production, he became the picture grew, and that's how they got Hun. Hun's just like a really fascinating character, and he's also like a fan favorite character from this version. And I do think that as the series will go on, you're definitely gonna enjoy his character. And I would also say that he could potentially become a contender for like your favorite character, but I do think that'll be like a wait and see type situation. Um, but yeah, in the next scene, we got the turtles, like sort of like making April part of the family. Do you have anything to say about that scene?
Uh, Not really. No, it was pretty cool to see April and the turtles getting along together, and they were cheering over a, a tea or something or whatever. But yeah, it was just really cool to see them together, and of course Splinter finally letting down his guard because we were he was unaware and he was wary of April revealing their secret. But that's all gone now. It's pretty chill. They're celebrating. It's all good.
Okay, yeah, I don't really too much to say about the scene. It's just, I mean, it's a cool one to see them like accepting April as part of the family and all that. What do you think about the final scene where Hun took away Baxter and then Shredder seeing the turtles for the first time? What do you think about that scene?
This is a very game-changing scene, in my opinion. Just seeing Baxter Stockman scared for once. Like, oh my gosh, he's actually scared of Shredder because he's right there. He knows he's messed up. He knows he's done bad, and he's breaking. He's breaking. You could see him breaking. You could see his fears coming out, and just seeing that was a bit of like disappointment on Baxter's half. Like his arrogance and his self-minded opinions have finally catched up to him, thinking, "Oh, I rule the earth," but no, there's someone else bigger and scarier than I am. So that was pretty cool to see, just seeing how his character changes around different other characters within the series. That was pretty cool to see. And of course, Shredder. Shredder is a. I'm still trying to get used to this Shredder because Shredder isn't all burnt and shriveled. He's like a normal person, and yeah, it's really weird. I'm still trying to get used to it, but I'll get used to it. But just seeing the turtles for the first time, Shredder seeing the turtles for the first time was actually pretty cool. And how his tech servants brought out the Mauser and the imagery, And I just want to go on a little side note here. I am really liking the whole character design for the tech people for working for Shredder. They've got like this giant bionicle eye on themselves. They've got um, connection tubes out the back of their brains, and it was really awesome to see. It's something like kind of out of the Matrix or Neon Genesis. It was really, really awesome to see something like that in such a minor character. So, but yeah, just seeing Shredder look at the turtles for the first time. Sure, he didn't see their faces or anything like that. He just saw like a thermal image of some kind. It was just really cool to see, and just seeing his rage come out, and he knows that these individuals, let's just say, because he doesn't know, they're they're in trouble. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, with the okay, so with the Baxter scene, what do you think his punishment is?
His punishment. I don't know whether his punishment would be severe as such, but I think his punishment is going to be for working indefinitely to the Shredder and the Foot Clan. Like he's going to be their own personal tech person. Like he's going to work. He's going to be confined. He's going to be in like trapped in the Shredder layer, and he's going to be working for them. Like he's going to be working constantly for them, creating new designs and tech for the Foot and for Shredder himself. So something along the lines of the originals of the series we watched previously. Like he's done something bad, he gets taken to Shredder. He says, "Look, I can make you all this, this, and this," and of course Shredder spares his life. And then, of course, he's in debt indefinitely to the Shredder. So I think that's going to be his punishment. Or I could be completely wrong. I'm hoping I'm completely wrong because I would like to see what punishment is involved. But knowing that his punishment is probably going to be like a slap on the wrist, and you're going to be working for us now.
Okay, so the punishment we just said that does happen for the whole series, but the punishment he gets for this time failing, you're gonna be shocked when you see it. That's all I've got to say. Um, so yeah, the Baxter thing, I was quite like surprised he even had that attitude with him like face to face, and yeah, like seeing him, like get scared in front of him. That just shows how powerful, like impactful Shredder is, even without the armor or anything. He hasn't done anything, and yeah, that's just amazing. Um, with the tech foot, I don't know. It was cool to see like another version of the foot and just have like a minor character. I mean, because this is not because they don't really shot too often. I know shot a few times, but like 2012, they would just have like one design and that would be it. They wouldn't even bother with something like this. So like, it's really cool to see something like this happen. But at the same time, it's really weird because you've got the tubes coming out the head, which I do think that that is a bit that is unrealistic, right? You don't get like tubes of wires and stuff going into someone's head, or does that happen? I mean, this was like 20 years ago, so I'm not too sure if it is realistic or not.
Yeah, I don't think 20 years ago people had tubes in their head, but definitely now these days, like for sure, people have got tubes coming out of heads. Like, what about the guy that can receive text messages through his brain? That's a thing.
Is it? Um. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I just blew your
Uh,
mind, didn't I?
yeah.
Yeah, there is
Um.
there's a guy who can do that. Hold on. Unless this is just a prank and I've been fooled, but there's
Oh
been
my
rumored to
god.
be a guy who can receive text messages through his brain, and there's an implant that sticks out like a little antenna, and he gets text messages through his brain. I don't know how much of that is true, but let's see.
That just sounds like
I
really unlike realistic because of what it is. But yeah, okay. So, while I search up his name, if it is true or not, I'll go last a little bit. With the Shredder scene, I enjoyed that he attacked the screen. At the same time, it was a little bit weird because like he might never come in contact with the Turtles again. But either way, like they set up his presence so well. I know 2012 did a really good job of setting him up in the. They didn't. I don't know if they set him up in the best of ways. But I do think that like showing the like people like Baxter Stockman are scared of him, he's able to show his power. I think that is amazing build up for like his eventual encounter with the turtles. But yeah, did you find out the name of that person?
I'm still looking. To be honest, it could be a complete hoax, but it could be like a complete utter hoax. To be honest with you, I may have been fooled, but I heard something interesting that some guy was trying to create a technology with receiving text messages. Like this was a while ago, but now recent events such as Elon Musk's neuron chip, his brain chip that he wants to put in everyone so he can communicate with people without using their phones. But what is true is that paralyzed people can use a brain computer to compose different sentences and control different things, for such as a man, like a paralyzed man, could use his brainwaves to determine whether a bar would go up or down. And it's been proven before, like in many shows and TV series of people using this technology to play ping pong, the old style techno ping pong, just by moving the little cursor up and down on the screen. So they would just think that, and it would go as such.
That's cool. I mean, even the text messaging one isn't real. We need to find out some interesting thing about the paralyzed people. So yeah. What do you think about this episode overall?
This episode overall was actually really interesting. I really enjoyed it. Sure, it probably isn't the best. Actually, no, sorry, I lie. It is really good, and I love it. But I don't want to give this all this praise because I want to find out what happens in the next episode, whether Baxter Stockman's back or whether as such. Like, but overall, this episode is really, really good. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the Mousers, the fights. Oh, overall, this episode was a decent one. It was good. I enjoyed it, and it was just really awesome to see.
Yeah, I'd say that like for this episode, I don't think there's anything too outstanding about it. I think there's like really good moments throughout this one, such as introduction of Han. You got to tell us backstory, and backstory is just amazing. And I do think that while this episode is not one of the best ones overall, I still think this episode does still hold up quite well over time. And I would say that for the like ending to this first little story arc, it does a really good job as I am quite interested. As like I would say, I know that I've watched this episode quite a few times, and I already know what's gonna happen. But like even now, I'm sort of like invested to see like what will happen next, even after it. And I do think it did a really good job at finishing this story arc. So yeah, would you say that this like mini story arc has like got you invested to see like what will happen next in this universe?
Totally. It is a really interesting story arc to see where it's gonna go. Like I am invested in seeing where this series goes and develops. Like it's really cool, and I just really, really want to see how this just plays out. It's I'm not too sure how to describe it. It's just a really different one to the other series that we've watched. But yeah, I just want to see where this goes and see where it ends up. It could be really cool, it could be really bad, who knows? But let's find out, shall we?
Yeah. Okay, so with the comments, we only got one comment, but then I'm not too sure. I mean, every week we seem to be getting less, but hopefully, maybe soon we'll begin some more comments for this series. So Josh Mayers, they put, I love the reference the Turtles have for the issue 2, but how they put their own spin on it, so that the story fits this universe. And yeah, I've been saying this for quite a while with how they like adapt they adapt like certain issues and then adapt it in a way to the point where it was able to fit this universe and it still works amazingly. Okay, so do you want to hear some trivia now?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so this episode is based on issue 2 of the original comics. This episode was ranked number 6 on the top 10 TMNT list. The young turtles grew strong by eating pizza. Pizza was the only food when the turtles were seen eating in the 1987 cartoon. Michelangelo's line, "Can we keep her?" when the turtles talking about April was originally from the first TMNT movie. This is the second episode where Mikey says cowabunga, albeit in a flashback. Mikey's first line in the episode was "A very wise frog once said," which was referencing the world's famous Muppet, Kermit the Frog. Jim Henson created Muppet and Kermit creator, original performer, provided the costume and Splinter puppet for the 90s film. Oh yeah, this is actually quite interesting. The person who voices Elmo in Sesame Street, he does the voice of Master Splinter in the first TMNT movie. How weird is that?
Way. That is mad.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, like now they know about it, you just can't get that image out of your head. This episode has Mikey's first girly scream after he scares April. In return, April scares him. Mikey says, "Can we keep her?" It may have been a mistake because in the previous episode he said, "Can keep her." Can keep her. Oh no, saying it wrong. Can I keep her? Oh, that's actually quite cool. Like having like different lines. Well, that's quite cool. We do have an error. Okay, so after Leo says, "Here's to the new team" at the end of the episode, Donatello's bandana looks like Raphael's bandana. Great, another mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the cast, we have April O'Neil voiced by Veronica Taylor, Bass Stockman voiced by Scott Williams, Donatello voiced by Sam Riegel, Leonardo voiced by Michael Sinterklaas. I'm going to say that name wrong every time. Michelangelo voiced by Wayne Grayson, Rocco Saki voiced by Scotty Ray, Raphael voiced by Frank Frankson or Gregory Abbey, Spencer voiced by Darren Dunstan. Who else is there? Oh, and also Hun, which is voiced by was it Greg Hari. So yeah, who do you want to look into this time?
Ooh. Who did we go over last week?
So we done Raphael last week.
Let's go into because I want to save back Stockman for some reason. Like, he's such a cool character, and his voice is just amazing. So, let's do Splinter's voice actor. Let's see what he's about.
Okay, I don't know if he'll say on Torpedo, but I guess we'll find out. In later seasons, he did become the voice director for the show. That's really cool. For him to go from an actor to actually coaching the actors themselves. So I thought that's quite cool for him, like, to progress in the series. So so it doesn't come out of anything on Torpedo. I'm creating it up on IMDb. So I feel like he's been in quite a lot, but at the same time, I feel like most of these actors is more or less like, have you seen like a certain thing or not? Okay, got the person up. Okay. Let's try and find something that you. He's been in Yu-Gi-Oh! As voice director. Chaotic as a voice director. What else has he been? Pokemon as a voice director. Oh no, actor. I was supposed to be looking at that. That might help quite a lot. Okay, he's been Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Maximilian Pegasus. Jean Michael Roger. Pokemon as Grovel, Swallow, Munchlax, been in that. I mean, it's hard to say like what you have seen and what I've seen. He was in the G.I. Joe series. I don't know what as. he was in One Piece, Sonic X as Bochi, Mr. Tanaka. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, is that I don't know. I don't really know what he's seen. That's like the hard part. He's
Darren
been in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Dunstan.
And One Piece. I feel like this might just be better for you to just look up and see what he's been in.
Yeah, Darren Dunstan, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Darren Dunstan. Yeah, he's been in the Pokemon series, which is pretty cool. He's the voice director, which is pretty awesome. A lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the video games, as well as a voice director. A lot of directing roles in this, which is pretty cool. Like a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles Forever, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the voice actor and director. He's been in lots of the Pokemon. The Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm butchering that. I'm sorry, but he's been in that as well. I'm still need to
one
watch
job.
that. Yeah. But to be honest, I thought he would be in a lot more series as of recent, as of late. Like he's been in the where is it? Just lost it. Damn it. Contra Rogue Corps. That's a video game that I've never played before, sadly. But to be honest, I thought Darren Dunstan would have been in a lot more series. And not yeah, it's a bit of a letdown. But in the series,
Also,
like,
one thing I would like to add. One thing I would like to add is the fact that he, like, when he was doing the show, he was 30 years old, and like when you comparing, I'm gonna go up the other cast members, see how old they were, because I'm pretty sure he might have been like one of the youngest ones, in terms of like one of the like main characters, and like 30-year-old doing like a pretty old voice, and that's quite good. Okay, so the person who did the voice of Don was he was 26. Leonardo was the same age as Splinter. The person who did Mikey was 28, and the person who does Raph was 28 as well. So, like, roughly, he was about the same age as all the other ones. So it's quite surprising, like, how he was able to have like that much of an older voice compared to the other people doing the voice at that time, and have like a semi-young, like a young teenager, like old teenager, young adult type voice. I think that's like quite interesting as well.
definitely, like the ability to change your voice to fit a character is so awesome. Like with many other people, like for instance, the voice actor who did Chris Bradford's voice, and of course also doing Mr. Krabs' voice as well. It's incredible to see how voice actors can manipulate their voices to fit their characters within their series, and it's just awesome to see and hear as well at the same time.
Yeah. So yeah, do you have anything else to say about this episode, or you done with it?
Overall, I don't have much to say because I've already said what I've already wanted to say in previous questions. So overall, this episode is really good, really well paid out, and it's just very passionate as well. This is a very passionate episode in which people have taken the time and effort just to make the scenes mean something and just to make it all flow together, which is just awesome.
Yeah, I have to say that overall, this episode was a really good one, and I did an amazing job of just wrapping this little story up, like story arc up, as well as like setting things up for the future, and just getting the whole viewer base on board to see like what will happen next. Okay, so for the final few things which we normally do, there is one thing which I would like to add on to onto this series alone, is because of the like at the beginning of every episode we got a turtle talking about it, and then going before we go into the intro. I would like to do like a little little game of that. So who do you think will be the character talking at the beginning of the next episode?
Ooh, that is a good question. The character who will be first talking in next episode. So we've had Leo, we've had Mikey,
Yes, he was
um,
episode 1, Donnie was episode 2, and Mikey was episode 3.
so Leo, Donny, Mikey. I think it's gonna be Raph next. I think Raph is gonna be the one who's
You are
talking, and
correct.
he's gonna start the introduction. Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, I mean, it wasn't really too much. It wasn't too hard. There wasn't really that many options. Okay,
Yeah.
so for next week's episode, is called Meet Casey Jones. What do you think is going to happen in that episode?
I'm just going on a wild one here. We're gonna get introduced to Casey Jones, perhaps.
Okay, I feel like that was very obvious. Do you know who Casey Jones is?
To be honest, not as much as I would like to. I know Casey Jones is a major side character alongside April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe, and of course I've seen him in clips of Turtles and different things as well. But to be honest, I really don't know a lot about Casey Jones. Like, I know he's just this guy in the Turtle series who helps out the Turtles, but I don't really know his character, his story, his presence. I don't even understand where he's come from. All I know, he's just there. So, yeah, to be honest, I really don't have much.
Okay, well, I feel like next week's episode is going to give you like a really good, clear idea of like what his character is like and just who he is as a character. I mean, he is in another version to the Turtles, but they don't do a good job of presenting Casey of what he is supposed to be like. So like, I must admit, like you're starting off with a good one to like see his character in. But yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you do want to get onto the podcast and leave your comments, you can do so on the YouTube comments, no, community tab, the YouTube video when this podcast go out. You can also leave comments on the Reddit page or sub posts. You can leave on Facebook, and yeah. But yeah, I've been Teddy,
And I've been Hayden.
and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye, yo, bye.
Bye.